Hello, this is Sam Simon, also known as Dementia Man. And this is my blog or uh, video blog for the week of January 11th, 2026. Oh my God, the year's almost over. No, it's not. We're just getting started. So, some resolutions about my video blog going forward. I'm going to try to organize it a bit, um, and it will go. So here's what I propose to do at each blog. First, if there's any personal news about Sam Simon, I'll share some of that. Um, any news about Dementia Man itself, and a bit of a marketing pitch on where I'm going to be, or urging you to perhaps schedule me. And then the topic of the day. And finally, anything serendipitous. Maybe like you can reach me at sam@dementiaman.com. If there's ever anything in a blog that disturbs you, let me know. You want to hear more about, let me know. Um, and just to be in touch, remember that there is a Dementia Man listserv, DM list at io groups.io, DM list at groups.io, or just say, send me an email and say you'd like to be on it. But I'll include that in sort of a standard thing going forward. So today, as I record this, I do have a little bit of personal news, and excuse me, my nose is running. There's some good news, and well, I'm doing okay. Um, we had a great New Year's, but there is a little news that is, I've been, maybe you didn't know this, I'm taking a new one of the new medicines that help reduce the amount of uh, amyloid in the brain. And I've taken, after my second one, though, uh, in December, uh, had a number of, just had some medical issues sort of pop up. I had a week or so of dizziness, really dizzy for some reason. Um, been not sleeping as well. Well, I had my doctor's appointment today and found out that, in fact, one of the risks of this new medicine is a risk of brain bleeds. And apparently, there was a very tiny indication, a very tiny micro bleed. And so we're holding the medicine for a while. I'm going to get another MRI. But, I'm not unique. I'm doing pretty well. Those symptoms seem to have passed. Don't know if they're related. So, and it's a reminder I do have the disease. I am in active treatment. And my messaging is really about making the best of the time we have with our disease. So that's the personal news. Oh, well, maybe just add that. Our granddaughter, Sydney, she's mentioned in the play. We're going to have lunch with her tomorrow. She's a freshman in college. She just spent the last couple of weeks in Israel playing lacrosse with the Israeli lacrosse team. So before she gets back to college, Grandpa and Grandma get to have lunch with Sydney. I am so impressed by that young lady. She plays goalie. So wow, it's really good. Oh, and as long as I'm doing this, my grandson Zachary uh, is going to be and has started or is about to start next week a internship. He's a sophomore at Virginia Tech, and he's going to be doing the intern with Congressman Don Beyer for credit with the school. Virginia Tech has a system. So we get to see a lot of Zach, and I'm teasing with him. We're going to lobby Zach to get all the Alzheimer's legislation help we need. Then my other two grandchildren, um, uh, Emily is starting her last semester of her master's program, and she is going to have a master's degree in public administration. She has a fellowship to do some work with the Delaware legislature. She's looking for work. And she has, she wants to work in public affairs, maybe in or public administration, but in association with perhaps somebody working on legislative in the legislative area. They're all so Zach and Emily are daughters of my son Marcus, who is the legislator. And then there's Joanna, who is in the middle of her junior year of high school, and she's doing really well. And she's involved in a number of the youth group organizations in her school. So that's the personal. I don't know if I'll go in that detail every week, but maybe once a month, that's a good thing to do. Okay. Dementia Man. Always got to remind you, bring me to your community. Now you have two different things, can have three maybe. First of all, one is the play. So my next performance, you go to the website and you can see a calendar. Our next performance of the play is going to be in Chantilly Library in Chantilly, Virginia. We're going to then be in Charlottesville in February. In March, we're going to be in Stony Brook Medical School. We got a pretty open calendar this year, so bring me. Who can bring me? Anybody can bring me. Senior living centers like it a lot. There was a church in Northern Virginia this year that had a minister for Alzheimer's. There's another church, a minister for older people. And the show itself helps them bring broader attention and opens up avenues of programming for the rest of the year. Plus now, you can also bring me just for a book talk or for a book presentation, or have a weekend and we can do both. We can do the play, take a break, or do the play, have a discussion, take a break, and then come back and people can get the book and we do a Q&A about the book. So there we go. That's Dementia Man. It's exciting, and don't hesitate to give a call if you need help in putting together material. We have a package. It's called an information kit. We can send it to folks because it's got a lot about the show and its history and what other people say in it. Oh, and by the way, there are 2 brand new reviews out for Dementia Man, the book. Boy, am I humbled. One is, I'm not going to buy it. It's a place in mid-America that does, I'll tell you, one is a Kirkus review and the other is a Midwest review. And it's going to, and they're sterling, and they're, again, I don't want to be a brag, but I'm really pleased with what they have to say. So, and then today's topic. In fact, all these great book reviews, and there might be a little mistake in the introduction. I don't know yet. I researched it today. Actually, my neurologist is reading the book, and he pointed it out when I had my appointment today. That in and I say a lot in the book and in the play and the talkbacks that there's an urgent need for cognitive navigators. For those of us with the disease, my wife, I call my cognitive navigator. That's her role in life. And in the play, she sits on the front row. She has a copy of my script, and I hold my script in my hand. But there are going to be times, and they've happened, where I get lost. I need to be redirected. She's there to help. And in real life, right? I am symptomatic. This may not sound like, but I am symptomatic. And so there are times when I need redirection and help and navigation help. And that's my wife, Susan. So when Susan had breast cancer in the early 2000s, they were launching the hospitals, not just, they were doing it free, at least at Inova Fairfax. There were cognitive navigators. They helped Susan and the family navigate this journey with the disease. And I said, how come we don't have cognitive navigators or breast navigators for Susan? And not now, I go to a hospital or someplace, where are my cognitive navigators? Well, it turns out that, and this is where the so-called error comes from, beginning of 2024, Medicare launched a program for breast navigation. And I said, and in the book, and I often said, but where's the cognitive navigation? Well, I learned, and it's called GUIDE, G-U-I-D-E. There is a Medicare GUIDE program. So, and it's on a trial basis. So I'm going to share my screen and show you at least the important parts of GUIDE. You have to be on plain old Medicare to be eligible for this. And your provider has to be part of the system and part of the trial. But let me go to sharing my screen. Make sure I open it on the right place. Here we go. And there we go. I hope you can see it. GUIDE. You can see it stands for Guiding an Improved Dementia Experience. Nationwide, 8-year Medicare program. So the 2024, this can be 2032. Yikes. Wow. I'm getting old. I was born in 1942. I guess I'd be 90. I'm 45. I'm sorry, 45. So, yeah, and simple but ambitious to provide coordinated, comprehensive dementia care at no cost for people with dementia and their caregivers. We're going to change the word dementia to neurocognitive diseases, but that's another program. So here, what does it provide? Free for eligible participants through dementia care organizations. So you have to find an organization that's participating. Now, I've used my AI thingamajiggy to find out if there are any organizations near where I live. And right now, it doesn't show any. So even if I'm otherwise eligible, I couldn't yet sign up. But so what does it consist of? A dedicated navigator, that's a human being, helps families coordinate medical care, community services, safety planning, transportation, and more. Wow, yes, we need that. 24/7 support line, place to call, get reassurance, manage a crisis. And then they support our care part. I call it, they say caregiver. I say care partner, my cognitive navigator in home. They help them. So they would help Susan, depending on what's going on with me, manage care, daily needs. I hope they have people trained on teaching caregivers yes-anding. our improv technique of avoiding conflicts. And look at this, respite care. So what this means, it's not for the caregiver. I'm sorry, it's not for the caregiver to get away, but it will spend up to $2,500 a year. So using my experience, if Susan's exhausted and is anxious, maybe even experiencing some depression and needs some time off, I could go into an go into an institution, be admitted to, say, a senior care facility or the like, and they'd be paid $2,500 for it could be a week or two, depending on the place, where I stay, and they can rest, they could travel, they could do their own thing. And then, very important, connections to community resources. Now, who's eligible? So this is an interesting thing for me, and we've found ways to work around it a little bit on other things. You have to have Medicare A and B as a primary insurance. Now we do, except we do it through the Fairfax County school system that has you enlisted in, as they put you into Advantage, Medicare, I'm sorry, Aetna Advantage, Medicare Advantage. So I might not be eligible, but there are ways to figure that around it. And then we have to be in the community or assisted living and not receiving hospice. So I found that I was able to, and I'll even show you this, ask I use Copilot for my AI, said, are there any eligible facilities in McLean, Virginia? And their answer was, all right, well, let's tell you how to do it. None of the places listed in the card are confirmed Medicare guide programs. So they instead give me some places where we can go for help, and we're familiar with many of those. But it's saying right now, none of the Metro Washington area facilities are in the system. So I should sometime go back and change my book to say there's a program starting for dementia, but maybe I'll just take credit for it. You know, I started arguing for it, but anyway, I didn't do that in 2024. So there you go. But keep an eye out for guide in your neighborhood, particularly if you are or know a caregiver and they're caring for their loved one, and they could use the help. I tell you, the need to get reliable resources continues to be one of the most challenging things out there, and encourage you to finding, among other things, it prevents fraud and ripping you off. So there is one other thing I think I wanted to write. Well, let me just say for my keep tuned. Well, I met somebody. I loved it. And she's going to be a guest on, I think it's next week's blog. So you may not have noticed, I was interviewed by Dr. Mark Roth, well, they calls himself Dr. Mark with Dementia Springs. Very long, he was on Facebook. And this person who had been a caregiver to a husband who had dementia, Alzheimer's, she's from University of Alabama, and she had been working, doing counseling and the like. without for others. Um, and she is an advocate for end of life choice. And she was sort of upset about me saying things that making that choice was a little bit arrogant because I do believe it is. I don't, the word arrogant might be wrong. I appreciate the feedback. Um, it's more self-centered, egoist. Well, if I could, because I believe that if I go by going through the natural end of life with the disease, I have something to give. And something in my experience might be helpful to the medical world um, in some way that we can't explain that would help find a cure, maybe just a nanosecond earlier. And that's why I sort of take this view. Let me get you her name and well, uh, she's coming back next week and listen next week. She has a book out, and she's going to talk about her book too, about her experience as caregiver, and she's got some really good um, notes and tags in it that are going to help that. Um, and so that's my talking to her and getting to know her a little bit. That was my fun thing, and I invite you to keep listening. Also, if you know people, invite people to um, sign up for the podcast so that they can video cast so they can get it. Go onto our website to do that, and then I would be remiss if I didn't remind you, how do I do this? How do I afford doing all of this? And that is through your donations and the tax um, uh, deductible donations through Fractured Atlas. Um, and you can do that by going to dementiaman.com. And I'm going to do that for you right at the moment. Um, okay. And 1 second, and I'm going to get you on this. I'm going to show you. I should probably do this on every blog. So these are supporters of Dementia Man as of today. And actually, it may be an update from the end of the year giving. But these people make, obviously my wife Susan, but these are the people that help me afford. I have a professional web uh, master, and we do marketing, we travel, and this many help, and I pay everybody that works with me. I have a dramaturg who's still working with me to occasionally look at the play and get it better. So, at any rate, enjoy. Happy New Year. And my wishes to you for a great, great New Year. Um, I'll close this, but happy 2026 and looking forward to great engagement with all of you this year.